The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good Friday morning, everyone. It is TGIF, and welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. So I got my regular crew with me this morning. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, everyone.
And then my brother Pedro is back.
Yo, TGIF. Guys, do I got to say anything more?
No.
Hey, it's about that time, right?
It is. Yay, the end of the week. Woo!
So, and we are, well, I guess it's the last Friday of the month as well. So, being so, this Friday on our interest groups, we have, as well as every Friday, so we have our movie night, descriptive movie night. So, of course, I host that, but tonight at 6 p.m., we will be showing The Score. And it is starring Angela Bassett,
and Robert De Niro.
And what's your boy from The Godfather?
Robert De Niro.
No, from The Godfather.
Oh, The Godfather.
Marlon Brando.
Oh, Marlon Brando.
Yeah, Marlon Brando's in here as well. So
Okay.
But anyway, it's a really, really good movie. I watched it a few years back, and nice little crime drama, you know what I'm saying? So come on out, check it out, get your, hang out with us, get your snacks and stuff together, whatever they may be, and enjoy a good descriptive movie with us tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So on that note, it is TGIF, right? So I guess we can start these articles off with a little something about Jim Beam. And we'll talk about it on the other side.
Today on Coffee Time, Behind the Barrels, exploring the Jim Beam Bourbon experience. At the heart of Kentucky's bourbon country, the Jim Beam Distillery in Claremont stands as a living tribute to America's whiskey heritage. For centuries, this iconic brand has been perfecting the bourbon-making process, and it all begins with the barrel. Jim Beam's aging process is more than a tradition. It's a science, and it starts with brand new American white oak barrels, charred to a level 4 finish. This deep char, often referred to as alligator char due to its cracked, scale-like texture, caramelizes the natural sugars in the wood. The result? A rich infusion of caramel, vanilla, and smoky oak that gives Jim Beam bourbon its signature depth and complexity. The environmental conditions within the distillery's rack houses, large barrel-aging warehouses, play an equally vital role. As the seasons shift, the Kentucky heat and humidity cause the wooden staves to expand and contract. This rhythmic motion allows the bourbon to move in and out of the charred oak, extracting color, flavor, and character with each cycle. In a bold move blending tradition with customization, Jim Beam introduced the Beam Private Barrel Club in 2025. This exclusive program invites bourbon aficionados to go beyond the glass. Participants enjoy a behind-the-scenes distillery tour, expert-led tastings, and the rare opportunity to hand-select their very own barrel of bourbon or rye. Each chosen barrel yields between 100 and 175 bottles, complete with personalized labels, turning a simple bottle of bourbon into a story to share. Prices begin at $59.99 per bottle, and the experience is capped with a bourbon-inspired lunch at the kitchen table, the distillery's signature restaurant. the Beam experience doesn't stop at barrels. Visitors can immerse themselves in history at the Fred V. No Distillery, which focuses on small batch whiskey production, or stop by the American Outpost, where educational tastings and storytelling bring bourbon lore to life. From grain to glass, every sip of Jim Beam is steeped in heritage, innovation, and the unmistakable spirit of Kentucky. Whether you're a bourbon connoisseur or simply curious about the craftsmanship behind America's native spirit, Jim Beam offers more than just a drink. It offers an experience. So the next time you pour a glass, remember the journey from charred oak to smooth finish and the generations of dedication behind every drop. What do you think about personalized barrel programs like Jim Beam's Private Barrel Club? Would you ever want to bottle your own? Share your thoughts below. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
All right. Well, so Jim Beam gets their signature flavor, color, taste, whatever you want to call it, right? From burnt wood. I mean, that's what it sounds like, right? You're taking these brand new white oak barrels, and you're basically charring them on the inside, and then dumping, the alcohol into it, and then letting it age. I mean, that's crazy, but okay. It's just amazing at how wood, burnt wood, can affect the flavor of the. And from what I'm understanding, I mean, I didn't realize Jim Beam, I guess, is more of a. I just thought it was a run of the mill whiskey. I didn't know they had a top end stuff. I guess which what this barrel thing is turning out to be. I mean, on that note, I mean, how could you have such a volume difference, between 100 and 175 bottles in a barrel? I mean, I don't know if I guess 175 as if the barrel is not leaking. I don't know. Whatever reason would there be for to be that big of a difference, right? And other than the barrel might be leaking or something like that, but actually, I think they started this private barrel club to try to work their way around where I hate to go here, but I'm gonna stick my foot in that water anyway because of all the places around the planet that they can no longer sell liquor to, right? I mean, everybody's seen on the news a couple of weeks back or whatever where Canada was literally pulling all the American Kentucky whiskey or whatever off the shelves, So, I mean, I know that really, really hurt their bottom line. So I'm thinking might be a little ploy, to get people, especially people with a little bit of money. Oh, I got my own signature whiskey. Oh, look, it says, Ed Davis on the bottle. It doesn't say Jim Beam, but that's a lot of money, 50 something dollars a bottle, especially when you're talking about 175 bottles. Woo, Lord. But yeah, I've never really been a whiskey drinker. I'm more of a cognac drinker. And not that I think I'm snooty or other than because I will drink brandy as well. But I just prefer that flavor over the whiskey flavor over, vodka and stuff like that. I've been known to drink gin from time to time, but whiskey's never been my thing. So, I mean, I don't know. Was that one of your things coming up, Carol? Did you do a lot of whiskey?
I actually did, Ed. I mean, for me, I did try to start out bougie and, do the top shelf fancy drink. But after a while, I realized, I'm not drinking actually for the flavor. I'm drinking for the feeling. And, I would go pretty cheap. Winston Canadian, Jim Beam, Johnny Walker, all of that stuff. It tastes okay, but after a while they start blending together depending on how you feel. So for me, I'm just surprised, like you said at the beginning, burnt wood. just to kind of give it its own little taste. I really, never really noticed any of that kind of stuff. Uh, so if people want to spend that money for it, that's fine. But I I've noticed that a lot of the stars, the actors and musicians, they're getting into having their own little signature drinks. Where people are buying it. You look at the man that's P Diddy or Lil Wayne or different artists start just actually getting out there with their own little signature drinks to where people just want to buy it just because of who actually made it, and it doesn't say if it's really that great. So
Right, right. Well, and
um
the sad part about the stars doing it, whatever, as well, right?
right,
It ain't like they actually got in there and brewed that alcohol. I mean, all they did was put their name on
put
it,
the name on it. That's
You
right.
know, Try to work with the brewmaster, whoever, whatever he's called. But to maybe kind of work out specific flavors or something like that. But bottom line, they ain't doing nothing but putting their name on it.
Right, you're
Uh,
absolutely right.
and it's whatever drinks they like. I mean, like Diddy, his thing is what, vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Another Some folks I watch, they got theirs is Pirates tequila.
Right, right.
So some they got their own signature, whatever, you know, whether it be vodka, whiskey, tequila, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I know my brother, he kind of likes that old Jack. Have you ever messed with Jim that much, Pedro?
Well, it depends for me on what season I'm feeling. I could be all tequila. I
He
could be
said,
on
"What
my
What
season?"
season? Did you hear that?
what
Whoa,
season? Yeah, because
okay.
sometimes I go seasons without drinking. I don't want to drink. Sometimes I have a tequila season that I want my Patron silver high shelf, and I keep me a
Okay.
bottle right there on the side just for special occasions. Then I have my Jack around sometimes. And but whiskey is one of my favorites. Um, I like my Crown Royale. You know, um, I like it. You know how it comes out original, but I also like it in caramel. That I use caramel, the one that's caramel, mix it with Irish whiskey. With rompope. They're like all whiskeys, and oh man, they go good together. That drink, oh fire, sugary but fire. Um, so I
You
like
should
my.
try the you should try the Crown Apple. You don't have to mix anything with
I
that.
know. Yeah, I like that
Smooth,
one. Yeah, I like
smooth.
that one alone. Even the honey one, but it's how I feel with sometimes, But it's not like I like the taste, and I like I don't like to get too like gone, because I prefer my other stuff, But I like to be on a smooth one, like with Jack. What I like is to sprinkle. I don't like a whole shot on a 16-ounce Coke or anything. I like to sprinkle it, and I get buzzed, but I get that little taste. I ain't trying to get that. Whoa, this thing is strong taste.
Right, right,
Right.
right. I
But
remember that one time we went to. You had a bottle of what was that? Peanut butter whiskey.
What?
let's not
Yeah.
forget screwballs. That's true, man. I turned some
Oh
people
wow.
out onto that drinks. It's called screwballs, Carol. And
Yeah, I've heard
everybody
of the
listening,
screwballs.
yeah,
I've heard of
everybody
screwballs.
listening. Original peanut butter. It's made from straight peanut butter whiskey. It's called screwballs, peanut butter whiskey.
Wow. I
Try it
mean,
out. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think.
yeah, yeah. I've never went that far with it. I just, I remember. See, I've never been a big drinker. I mean, I do drink, but I've never been a big drinker. Being honest, there was a lot of alcoholics in my family, so I kind of, seen what was going on with them and backed away from it. But at the same time, sometimes you're just looking for a cheap high, and 9 times out of 10, the alcohol was the cheapest high you could find.
True.
So I
That
mean,
was actually legal.
yeah, that's actually legal anyway. But
Right.
but again, I've dealt with it some, but I remember my grandfather, man. It seemed to me he used to drink the cheapest stuff on the market. He was drinking bourbon deluxe, and I know my stepdad. It seemed like at one point he was on an old crew. It was either Old Taylor, Old Granddad, old, just all of that stuff, right? So, but again, he's also the man that taught me how to drink. He said, no, before you go out drinking, make sure you get some food on your stomach, and if at all possible, make sure you get you something to eat on the way home. That's how you beat your headache. That's hangovers, stuff like that. So, but I mean, I learned to drink in moderation. So, but again, I don't know. I just 175 bottles. I mean, unless you pass them out for Christmas, I mean, that's a lot of alcohol. You know what I'm
Sure is.
saying? That would definitely last me the rest of my life, because I'm definitely not going to drink that much of it. But, for those that can afford it, I guess that's a great thing to do, and have your own signature. I wonder if each of those private barrels, whatever they want, if the taste actually varies, from one barrel to the other. Is it all kind of uniform, Because again, if you buying 175 bottles, what makes yours special if this next barrel has the same alcohol in it? You understand what I'm saying?
That's true.
Other than my name on the bottle. So, it might be just a little, what they call a gimmick to get people to buy the barrels rather than, you know, so, but again, alcohol is alcohol. Whatever your flavor, whatever your choice,
Mhm. Mhm.
whatever works for you, as we say. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, we
uh,
might see more of these coming out more, maybe more clubs or deals on top shelf liquor when it's gonna start coming because of the exporting issue that's happening. Not to get into much details on that part, but maybe on that end they might do a little of that. Maybe you might find great deals. They might do a club like a subscription, get this much this a bottle a month for a subscription. You never know.
you
You
never
know,
know.
they might want to do some, to make up that capital because they might be getting hit hard, and we're already hearing about different stores actually closing in the market, also not just of in that sector, but I mean like across on the malls and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, the
Yeah, you're
Forever
right.
21.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what's gonna happen. But these clubs could be cool depending on your brand. Because some people like Crown Royale, some people like Jack, some people like the Patron type thing. If there's a couple ones that you could alternate bottles, I guess, and get like exotic flavors that they don't really have in the market. Some people might be inclined to also.
Right. 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 Well, I mean, again, so it's whatever the market is going to be what the market is. I mean, again, if they can, we want to think that they're going to jack the prices up simply because they lost a lot of sales not being able to do this globally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, no, okay, so there's no tariffs on what they sell here, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think they finna give us a discount. I think they finna try to make their money up for that they're not getting from the global market and try to make it up off of us.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm
So
saying not like a discount. They might make a subscription so they could keep having monthly money coming in. But yeah, you're right. They're gonna be about their bottom line. But think about it. If a lot of them think the same way, there could be one that could kind of undercut them, in a competitive market. But who knows? You might be right. And I'm being kind of like, giving them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, corporations and stuff. Can't deny that part. But
right,
yeah, we can
I
move on
hear
to
you.
the
Yeah, we're gonna move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and get these promos out the way, and then we'll get into this next one.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, You can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United. Did you know that people in third world countries do not have access to canes? The You Cane Give initiative gives canes to people all over the world who cannot get canes. The You Cane Give initiative not only goes to these countries and gives people canes, but they give people canes and a digital recorder that is solar powered that has instructions on how to use the cane and instructions on how to repair the cane. The You Cane Give initiative is a very worthy cause, giving canes to blind people all over the world. If you have a cane that you're no longer using, or a cane that's broken or bent, you can go to youcanegive.org and get a shipping label, and you can ship your cane to Jimmy in Tennessee, and he will refurbish it and give your cane to a blind person in a third world country. That website again is youcanegive.org.
All right. Well, God first says good morning to everybody. So good morning, God first. This next article, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now. We've lost another pope. Pope Francis has passed away at the age of 88. So this is an article about an interesting tradition when it comes to dealing with popes. It's called the Fisherman's Ring. So check this out and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Today on Coffee Time, a papal legacy in gold, the story of the Fisherman's Ring. Rooted in ritual and centuries of tradition, the Fisherman's Ring, Annulus Piscatoris, remains one of the most powerful and enduring symbols of papal authority in the Roman Catholic Church. More than just a piece of ceremonial jewelry, this unique ring reflects the continuity, spiritual leadership, and solemn responsibilities entrusted to each pontiff. Its origins, its use, and even its destruction carry a depth of meaning that connects the modern church to its apostolic roots. The Fisherman's Ring first appears in historical records in a 1265 letter from Pope Clement IV. From the beginning, its symbolism has been clear. The ring bears the image of St. Peter, traditionally recognized as the first pope, casting his net from a boat. Peter, a fisherman by trade, was called by Christ to be a fisher of men, a metaphor for gathering and guiding the faithful. The ring, therefore, not only symbolizes the office of the Pope, but also the spiritual mission to lead and serve. Originally, the Fisherman's Ring served a practical purpose. For centuries, popes used it as a signet to seal private letters and official papal briefs. Each wax seal bore the ring's imprint, lending authenticity and authority to the documents. This practice continued until 1842, when the Church replaced the ring's sealing function with modern stamps. Despite the change, the ring's spiritual and symbolic importance has only deepened with time. When a new pope is elected, a unique fisherman's ring is created, customized to bear his chosen papal name. Pope Francis, who led the Church from 2013 until his death in 2025, received a ring made of silver and plated in gold. Its design was based on one originally created by Italian sculptor Enrico Manfrini for Pope Paul VI, reflecting continuity between papacies while honoring the new pontiff's personal style and humility. One of the most striking traditions associated with the fisherman's ring is its destruction after the Pope's death. This ceremonial act, carried out by the Camerlengo, in this case, Cardinal Kevin Farrell, ensures that the ring cannot be used to falsify documents during the period between papacies. The ring is physically defaced, often with a hammer or by deep scoring, symbolizing the conclusion of one papal era and preparing the way for the next. Following Pope Francis's passing at age 88, the Church honored this tradition. His ring was destroyed in a solemn ceremony, affirming the end of his papal authority. In another personal and significant departure from custom, Pope Francis requested not to be buried under St. Peter's Basilica. Instead, he chose the Basilica of St. Mary Major, a site that reflects his lifelong devotion to the Virgin Mary. The story of the fisherman's ring reminds us that tradition in the Catholic Church is not static, it evolves while preserving its core meanings. From its origins in medieval correspondence to its present role as a symbol of spiritual leadership and humility, the fisherman's ring bridges the ancient and the modern. It is a reminder of the sacred responsibility that each pope bears and the enduring faith that connects millions around the world. What do you think about the tradition of destroying the fisherman's ring? Do you find comfort in the Church's adherence to ancient rituals, or do you see it as something that should evolve? Share your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, couple things I find, I don't know, for me, a little amazing. It makes sense, that back in the day, they used to use the ring as the seal, right? They just drop some wax or whatever it was on their documents and do an impression of the ring in the wax, and that way it was, official, right? But it's crazy that, again, the Vatican, you hear so much money about, the Roman Catholic Church and all of these, I don't know how true any of them are or not true, but they supposed to have all this big time money or whatever, but now you're going to make a ring in silver and then plate it in gold. That one doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay. And then, the destruction of it. I get the symbolism in it, as the end of this pope, getting ready for the beginning of the next pope. But I don't know. I just think that would be, something that you could also, display somewhere within the Vatican or something like that, showing, the eras of the various popes. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, the ring has not only got a picture of, Peter on it, but it's also got whatever, Pope changed his name to. You know what I'm saying? So that's another crazy thing. I never realized, okay, well, wait a minute, your name is John, but now I'm a Pope, so now I'm Francis. It's just more tradition within the church, I guess. But I don't know. I just think that it would, it'd be better served historically, to take them rings and, pretty much have them displayed, wherever you display the rest of the Pope stuff, because I'm pretty sure they got somewhere that has, artifacts from each pope throughout the history of the church. So, but anyway, I don't know what you think about tearing that ring up, Kel.
I think that they should have kept it. It's like what we do with our presidents. They paint a self-portrait and they have it where everyone can possibly view it. If you go to the White House or wherever they may have things where you can see our past, the evolution of what was then and what is now, so that people can not only just read about it in books, but you can actually view it as it happened, to just kind of reflect back of the way things looked then and the way we're doing things now. So I think that it should have been displayed as well. I know that, tradition is just that tradition, but I believe that they should have changed things just like he did. He was one of the unique popes that uh, we've never seen. A lot of things that most in the past didn't believe, he actually believed and changed and evolved into where it was more like what we live in today. So I think that they should have just maybe started it from him and went on and up into the next one and the next one and the next one, to where people can view it and just reflect on what was and what is now.
Right, right, right. I agree. I agree. So and then being making the decision not to get buried with the rest of the popes, but again, as the article said, showing his devotion to the Virgin Mary, choosing to be buried over there. I mean, that's again, Francis was a different kind of pope. You know what
Yes,
I'm
he
saying?
was. Yes, he was.
So he was really all about the homeless and all that other kind of stuff. So a great loss to the Roman Catholic Church and mankind. So anyway, what you think about all this, Pedro?
Um, well, yeah, the Roman Church has for centuries kept records. They have the Vatican Library, 33-mile long library. I mean, square footage, like it's big. Um, so you know, and about keeping the ring, the symbolism of breaking the seal. It's what they're kind of doing, releasing whatever the symbolism they're trying to show, breaking whatever ritual they did. So I'm trying to just break it down like in overall type of terms. But that's why they did it. They destroy it, and the reason why they don't spend too much money. And when it comes to money, the Vatican has its own private banking system that is never been. uh, There is no audits. There's only a few people that know who whose accounts are listed there. So it's like a very kept secret banking that they have, even on their library. Their library, you must know where is your document or book. You must know specifically, and not everybody gets access to that library. You must apply and see if you get access. And sometimes you must be, well, not must be, but a lot of people that have received access were over 65, 70 years old. So that library is extensive. They have there's rumors to be different historical artifacts in there. Um, you know, and they pretty powerful with their money. They do have money. But yes, this ritual just symbolizes to break the seal and move on to the next pope coming. Yes, it would be nice to keep that artifact, and show it in their library or show it in a museum. Because their library is not accessible to us and probably will never be accessible to us. But this is their tradition, and even and other religions, they have other traditions. Their I respect their religion and respect their ceremonial traditions, and it's all good. I know it's a passing, and I used to be Catholic. Well, when I was younger, I was following the church, the Catholic religion. But it is a passing. A lot of people love the Papa. That's what we call him in Spanish,
Right.
and Catholic is a prevalent religion in Latin America. So the Papa, they adore the Papa, and downtown in East LA over here in the Pasita Alvera, where sometimes me and Monica go, they have a shrine going, and people are dropping flowers and candles for the Pope, and across the world, everybody's feeling that, and I could be understanding of that, and you know, let's see on this because they still got a ceremony to go through within the Pope. They still have to. sit down there, and I think they don't go to sleep or anything until they choose the next pope, and they have to all vote, and their vote they have to be present.
Right.
Yeah, so there is a whole other symbolism and ceremonial things that are still gonna happen. You're gonna see the smoke from the chimney. Once it's white, they have picked the next pope. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of symbolism and a lot of stuff like that. So, in all religions, not just
Right.
Islam,
Right. Right.
you
Right, of
know,
course.
but and shout out goes to my people that are Catholic, and the Pope was loved,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he did
he definitely
introduce
was.
he introduced new ideas, new ideas of way of thinking, and trying to modernize the church,
Right.
and keep its foot in the roots of their beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right. Right.
traditions.
Well, I mean, and again, I mean, I respect their, their traditions and stuff like that. It's just, for me, it's just, I'm not that part of that religion, but at the same time, I just, to me, it just, like when we talking about, making it out of silver and then plating it with gold. Well, either way, once it's done, you still got that metal, whether it be silver or gold. You still have
Hmm.
that metal, so you
Right,
still have that. You still have that wealth, right?
Yes.
right,
Number two, like I said, okay, cool, no problem. You want to destroy it. I get the symbolism, it's just removing the power from one pope, the end of one pope, moving into the next pope, so on and so forth, transfer of power, I get all of that, but at the same time, I just don't see where the ring necessarily has to be, other than the symbolism of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's the symbolism destroying it, and they might not just depend. I don't know the steps or the ritual, but they might just split it, and remember, this might be a silver ring plated in different types of gold for the intricate design, because even those rings, the design is symbolism. When you walk
Right, right,
into the Pope, the statues and the representation of some of these statues and what they mean trip you out. They have
right,
like statues of a representation of hell and stuff like that. I think of Mary holding Jesus, the baby, in
right,
his carriage. They got all kinds of other stuff, but in a lot of this artwork, especially when it comes to artists, they put little things, either if it's art or even in audible or even in rap. They put, even in music, you know.
right.
Yeah, so even in album titles, but yeah, he will be missed. Let's see what happens. There's, I think ABC on Disney, 24 hour coverage for the next 7 days, I think, or until they pick the next pope.
Mm.
Yeah, on Disney Plus.
I mean, it's a what they call a deliberation,
It's like when the
uh,
Queen died. Remember that?
Right, right.
well, but the difference is when the queen dies, you already know who's next in line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It's in
with
the
the
family. Right,
right, they're keeping it in the family.
right.
With the Roman Catholic Church, it's all of the the bishops and cardinals and whatever getting together and going through whatever that process is, deliberating amongst each other as far as who would be
Man,
the next pope.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah, because it's just a process, and you don't know, who can be the next pope. But
No,
man, the conspiracies about the Vatican, we
As
won't
we
get
know,
into all that.
as we know, it's conspiracies about
every
everything.
everything.
In
Mm-hmm.
today's world, everything got a conspiracy in it. You know what
The
I'm saying?
conspiracy for me is I can't win the lottery because I keep picking the wrong numbers. Liars.
Mm.
But well, I mean, God rest a man's soul. I mean, again,
Hmm.
shout out to the,
Yes,
to all my Catholic brothers and sisters around the planet. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Sorry for your loss. Like I said, he's a great man. He will be missed. So, on that note, we're gonna move into these promos and get into our last article.
Do you need to talk? Are you struggling with your mental health? Are you struggling with substance abuse issues? Call the Orange County NAMI Warm Line. That number is 877-910-9276. That number again is 877-910-9276.
June 21st, got a vibe so right. Come through the service and a day tonight. It's Blind United, yeah, we're bringing the flair. Crafts and colors floating in the air. Jewels that shine, lotion so smooth. Mosaics, baked goods, handmade grooves. You don't wanna miss this artful affair. Blind made magic, love everywhere. Jewel that shine, lotion so smooth. Mosaics, baked goods, handmade grooves. You don't wanna miss this artful affair. Blind made magic, love everywhere. You want a table, just 25 bucks. Bring your vision, your craft, your luck. Vendors welcome, come show your pride. Let your work shine, let your soul ride. It's more than a fair, it's a moment to share with a community that truly cares. So email us now, don't miss your spot. info@blindunited.org, we got a lot. Jewels that shine, lotion so smooth. Mosaics, baked goods, handmade grooves. You don't wanna miss this artful affair. Blind made magic, love everywhere. So come vibe with the crew, enjoy the day. Blind United has got it set our way. June 21st, bring your smile and light. Art and love, yeah, we'll shine so bright.
All right. Well, man, if you're in Southern California and you know, having to do some crafting or whatever, get with us. Tables are going fast, so you might as well jump in here and get yours reserved so you can come out here and sell your products and highlight the fact that, you know, folks in our community, we like to do all this kind of stuff as well. Knitting, crocheting, jewelry making. I mean, you know, I know Pedro, y'all supposed to be making some, what is it, some what do they call it? Sanitizer, hand sanitizer stuff.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. We've been busy, guys. Oh my.
I mean, you know, I mean, again, this is whatever your craft is, whatever, you know, we got people that, we got another lady I know, she does, what is that, shea butter stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So she's got a lot of different products with shea butter, you know. We got another girl, she does like brittle, you know, peanut brittle, whatever, just, you know, stuff like that, you know, so. According to somebody else, I heard we're going to have somebody there that actually makes handmade moccasins.
Ooh.
So, I mean, you know, so we're probably going to have some pretty cool stuff there, you know. So, whether you got a craft, you know, that you want to highlight and some products you would like to sell, or whether you just into buying, you know, that kind of stuff, come on out. June 21st, Service Center for Independent Life in Claremont, California. If you need more info@blindunited.org. So anyway, we don't have any more comments, so we're going to move forward. This next one, I actually kind of like this idea. I'm going to let y'all check this article out and look at what Peru did.
Today on Coffee Time, the Marañón River and the fight for legal rights of nature. Running like a lifeline through the heart of Peru, the Marañón River stretches over 900 miles from the snow-capped Andes Mountains to the lush lowlands where it feeds into the Amazon River. Known as one of the most important headwaters of the Amazon, the Marañón is both a geographic marvel and a sacred resource for countless indigenous communities. But for decades, this vital river has suffered, Repeated oil spills, pollution from mining and deforestation, and controversial hydroelectric proposals have all threatened its health and the well-being of those who rely on it. Now, however, a transformative shift may be underway. In a historic move, the Marañón River has been granted legal personhood, a legal status that allows it to be represented in court and defended against harm, much like a human being or corporation. What is legal personhood? Legal personhood for natural entities isn't entirely new, but it's still rare. This concept means that the river is no longer viewed solely as property or a resource to be regulated. Instead, the Marañón is recognized as a living entity with intrinsic rights, the right to exist, to flourish, and to be protected. This means legal representatives can file lawsuits on its behalf if its health or integrity is threatened. This idea has been growing in strength globally. In New Zealand, the Whanganui River was the first river in the world to be granted personhood status in 2017. In Colombia and India, similar declarations have been made for other rivers and ecosystems, although legal challenges remain. Now, Peru joins that movement, acknowledging not only the environmental significance of the Marañón, but also its cultural and spiritual value to indigenous communities, such as the Awajan and Wampis peoples. Why this river and why now? The Marañón has long been a site of struggle. For years, oil extraction projects have left behind ecological scars, thousands of gallons of crude oil spilled into its waters, contaminating ecosystems and threatening biodiversity. Communities have reported health problems, loss of food sources, and destruction of ancestral lands. Meanwhile, proposals to dam the river have sparked fierce resistance, especially given the potential displacement of indigenous populations and irreversible damage to ecosystems. The new legal designation offers a new path forward. Now, if companies pollute the Marañón, they can be held accountable not just for violations of environmental regulations, but for violating the river's own rights. A broader shift in environmental thinking. This move also reflects a changing philosophy about conservation. Instead of framing nature in terms of what it can provide for humans, water, energy, timber, more people and governments are starting to ask, what does nature itself deserve? By recognizing the Marañón River as a rights-bearing entity, Peru is making a powerful statement. Nature is not just a resource, but a relative and one that deserves protection. It's also a victory for indigenous stewardship, reaffirming that those who have lived alongside the river for centuries are not just stakeholders, but vital guardians with deep-rooted knowledge of how to protect it. What comes next? While this is a landmark decision, the real test lies in implementation. Will courts uphold the river's rights in future disputes? Will polluters be prosecuted with this new legal standing in mind? Will national development projects now face a higher threshold of environmental responsibility? Time will tell, but for now, the recognition of the Marañón as a legal person marks a hopeful turning point in the long fight to protect Peru's precious natural heritage. What do you think about the idea of rivers having legal rights? Should more natural landmarks be granted personhood? Let us know your thoughts and join the conversation. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I mean, like I said from the beginning, I think I kind of like this idea. I mean, of course, it depends on a lot on what they said right there at the end. Granting them personhood. That's one thing. But again, once something happens, how's that going to stand up in court? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to be able to prosecute these polluters and so on and so forth? But I mean, I just think this is a great way to protect some of our natural wonders, some of our natural resources. I mean, you think about, well, I can't remember which one it is, or there's Yellowstone or Yosemite, but one of them is full of sequoias trees. And come to find out, these sequoia trees, they all carry the same root system. They're all the part of the same root system. So that means that whole entire forest is one living being, right? So I mean, again, things like that. That would be a great one. You think about the wildfires we had, the last couple of years here in California, where up north a lot of our redwood trees, got taken out. Some of those trees are hundreds, if not thousands, of years old, right? And again, I think that would be another great thing to have in the mix to help protect these things. Not only our rivers, Colorado River, Mississippi River. We got a lot of great rivers, and in this way it makes it, okay, before we're gonna let anybody come in here and just automatically do whatever they want to do along this river. No, this river has rights, so we have to make sure that everything's going to be straight. And make sure that you're not going to mess up no ecosystems and not put, like over there where they talking about, it ran off, and killed up some tribal lands and different stuff like that, So again, I just think having, these natural things like this, having, rights, I think is a good thing. So that's my take on it. What you got, Carol?
I mean, I agree with you. Protecting our environment, it's necessary now. It's just so much stuff that's going on, even just man-made. You look at some of these plants where meat packing or other companies that dump this biohazard material and toxic waste and things in the river. And even though the city is supposed to have a waste plant that cleans all of this stuff up that we have to drink or bathe in or wash our clothes or dishes in, you don't always know if what they're doing is always working. You can turn your water on through the faucet and smell things sometimes to where it's like, ugh, I'm not going to drink that if you're not buying bottled water. So, protecting the environment around these smaller areas that they rely on, these trees to produce fruit or different things to just make their livelihood so much better. I believe that, this is a great idea to just make them pay for protecting them so that they can live a longer, healthier life.
Right, right, right. I mean, again, the natural resources, we need them, number one, number two, like you say, more remote areas where they don't necessarily have the resources, that other places do, where,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe their water supply depends on, some specific lake or whatever the case may be. Uh, Again, keeping, in corporate America and the industrialization of certain things, keeping them from dumping all kind of pollutants in that water is going to make sure that water stays nice and clean,
Mm-hmm.
for the people down the way that's going to be drinking that.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, but yeah, I mean, I still think it's a good thing. What you think, Pedro?
Yeah, I believe it's a good thing. We need these environments. We use these environments. And for like Sequoia, man, they suck up CO2 gases off our atmosphere. So, having more of them benefits us. Um, even ecosystems that are within there, that live within, up here in the forest in the Los Angeles area and the Sequoia mountains up here too and stuff like that. So, man, those trees are huge. I'm gone there, guys. There's a nice view when you get up there over, like, I think it's the which river? It's a big old river. I remember I was able to see, but not no
Well, you talking
more.
about going north with the redwoods?
Yeah. Hmm.
I have to believe that's probably the Sacramento River.
Yeah, it's one of them rivers, but it was huge, and you could see the city and the mountains far. Like, it was a nice
Yeah.
view, you know.
Mm.
But these
But Carol,
environments,
those trees are so big. Those redwood trees are so big, Carol. They literally cut a hole in them, and cars drive through them.
What you say?
Okay,
Oh
those
wow.
are some big trees, baby. I'm talking about what a
we could have a whole party on one of them.
Oh
One of them.
wow.
Yeah, they're
okay.
big.
Sounds beautiful.
But also, even when it comes to like our we don't have like a global, I think, environment type solution. Our current administration has pushed away from the climate accords and other things like that, loosening up these loosening up these guidelines and stuff like that. And the example is the Amazon forest.
Hmm.
They're cutting that thing down and all that, and it's the same because you know there is so much things we have not discovered within there. They're just mapping it with lidar.
Mm.
Right. I mean, again, you're
Hmm.
doing all of that, to get the wood to, industrial purposes, right? But at the same time, you're not realizing how much the planet eco depends on that forest being there. I mean, just like what you were saying about the
Nature.
sequoias,
Hmm.
trees in general, right?
Hmm.
They pull the CO2 out of the air. You know what I'm
Right.
Hmm.
saying? So
Right.
now you cutting down the Amazon forest, which is one of the biggest forests on the planet, right? And now you
Hmm.
down there knocking it down, and now we don't all them trees. That's another reason why we got so much global warming. This is why we got so much pollution.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think
Hmm.
for every tree that gets cut down, one needs to be planted.
Agree.
At a minimum.
Agree.
You got. I mean, you cutting all of these trees down. What about the generations to follow us? They not gonna have any trees.
No protection
If
whatsoever.
if you don't plant new trees, then they not gonna have trees because you cutting
Hmm.
them all down. I mean, come on now. I mean, lumberjacks, think about that. It's called job security, okay? The tree might not get big enough for you to cut down, but somewhere down the road, your great grandchild decides to be a lumberjack as well. Guess what? He gets to cut that tree down. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
you gotta keep this stuff moving. But again, it's being able to make these things. Like I said, giving them personhood. I mean, I didn't agree with it when they did it to corporations. I still don't really agree with it when they talk about corporation.
Hmm.
But when we're talking about, like you say, the Amazon forest or the mighty redwoods up in
The
northern
ocean.
Cal, the oceans, man. I mean, these different lakes, natural lakes. That I ain't talking about man-made lakes that
Yeah.
people built for their entertainment. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? For their
Yeah.
Right. Of course.
recreation.
Yes,
You know,
the ocean has even salted water, unsalted water, has
Hmm.
lakes under its surface. So we're still exploring our ocean, and us dumping these chemicals, dumping trash, dumping everything into it, it's gonna damage that ecosystem. Even we were talking about the earth rotation and the core. Even they believe that the rotation of the core has something to do with our currents in our ocean. So that's another aspect that lets us know that our earth works as one, as a unit. And we need to be protecting these environments, these natural environments, you know um
right,
I know it looks like it's gonna be a high cost with these green technologies, but we need to continue moving forward. We started with sticks and stones. Now look where we at. Now we need to move forward to stop using maybe even wood to be building. Maybe 3D printed materials, that already comes with the screws already printed out that will screw on and fit perfectly because it's been printed out. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
I
we
mean,
might.
Or that recycled plastic, you can make that strong enough to hold something,
you
and
know,
it's flexible for like the
Mm-hmm.
climates or the areas where you have tornadoes or you have earthquakes, things of that sort. It's always something that you can do to make it better
right,
without destroying the earth in the process.
right. So, right quick before we get out of here, Tisha pops in and said good morning. So, good morning, Tisha. So But again, I mean, all of this stuff, I mean, today's world, today's technology, man, we ain't got to be cutting down all these trees. Like you said, I mean, come on, man. Take all that old plastic that y'all really don't like but want to use, throw it in a big old vat, melt it down, and make some 2x4s and build your houses with that. I don't know. You know,
Or
something like
3D
that.
print, 3D print.
You
That's a
know,
new type
well,
of
I mean, again,
technology.
take it, make it, you know, the 3D printing material. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Recycle
from
that.
that, huh?
You know, you can
Right.
recycle that plastic into that material. You know, whatever the case may be. But you know, rather than just dumping stuff. I mean, you think about, you know, and I know I'm gonna run a little long with this one, but think about this one. A lot of these folks that, you know, that have this really really bad waste, toxic waste, stuff like that. They're paying these companies millions of dollars to go out and dump it in the middle of the ocean, right? So now the whoever environmental comes along and they see you dumping all that stuff, what do they fine you? $50 or $100,000? $100,000 ain't shit. You know,
To
$100,000 a
them.
day.
Hey,
You know, when I'm making millions of dollars for doing it.
Right.
this might be a problem for Elon Musk to solve, right?
But, man,
Put all the trash in his rocket.
Lord, Emma, I know it's time to go now.
No, yeah, it's time to
The
go.
rocket into the sun with
It's
all the
definitely
trash.
time to go now. So, but anyway, again, thank you, everybody.
Pedro.
You
Hey,
know,
hey. We just rack up all the trash, put it in a rocket, and send it into the sun.
oh my goodness. Okay, send it into the sun. Okay, well that may, I mean, you know, burn it all up at one time, incinerate it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe we can throw a couple people up in there to fly that rocket. I don't know.
Send them in a Tesla.
You know, I got a
Send
few
them in a
people I'd like to
Tesla
see.
rocket.
Yeah, I got a couple people I'd like to see flying that rocket. But
Right.
anyway,
Right.
again, we're beyond our time. It is TGIF. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed the show. As always, you know, please like, subscribe, share, comment. You know, hit that follow. You know, notification bells, all that good stuff. Whatever you can do, wherever you at, it really, really does help. We really, really do appreciate it. And as always, like I said, you know, if you enjoy the topics that we have, or you got a topic in mind that you'd like to hear us discuss, whatever, shoot it to me. info@blindunited.org. I promise you, we'll get it here for us to have a discussion on it. So, on that note, Tisha, Pedro, everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday morning. Everybody have a great weekend.